Okay, so we are going to begin. We're going to look at our lesson number 5, which is over the adjectives and adverbs. So get ready to look at all the number of endings you're going to add to your memory list. So long. But we will begin with looking at the vocabulary. I'm going to say the vocabulary and you can repeat it after me. Delio? Got it. Man.
How do you say got it?
We'll get there. Yeah. Agathos is not Delio. So agathos, agapetas, hagias, ionias, alas, apistas, basilikas, dikaias, ekastas, eschatas. I gotta get that one. Heteros, or heteros, I should say. It's the breathing mark. Kainos, kakas. It's almost like the Spanish word, but kalos, mikros, manas, nekros, Pauline, pistas, paneras, protas, and sapas. Okay, and so just, we'll go over the vocabulary another time, but just for memory's sake, try to use words that will help you, like necros, for example. I'm pretty sure you could think of a word that's similar to necros, necromancer or something like that. That'll help you. Yeah, yep.
There's a comic book character named Necron.
Necron?
He's the personification of death.
There you go. Ruler of the Black Lanterns. Okay. Yes. Eschatos.
Last time's eschatology.
Yeah. If I remember right. Never mind. But I need to pass these out, don't I? Hey, can you just, that's you, Trevor, and David. Okay. You didn't get one? Well, you're going to have to share with him. I don't have any more.
Wait,
Do you need one of these?
oh, I did get one of those.
I thought I gave you one, but you're going to share anyway. I'm just basically, every week I'll add a news table. And you can, if you need help, you can use it on your quiz. Delio? Delio. Like, one that may be helpful is paneras. I think of chess, pawns. They're evil, so I'll go after them. Panera's evil. I mean, whatever's helpful. Kakas.
That's crap. It's bad. Kakas.
Yes, kakas is bad. Manas, monotheistic. Mana is similar to mono. Yep. One sound. Yep. And I'm sure you all know agape, so agapetas will help you out there, right? So see, look at this. I'm helping you out already. You got this. And for the alas and heteros, so in New Testament, there can be a distinguishment between them two. One of the same kind or of a different kind, but that doesn't necessarily mean that there is a distinction. So just keep that in mind. So if that happened to be a extra bonus point, you could use either one. Delio? I'm going to say a lot this time. Okay, so adjective. So we're just going to do overview. This should be straight out of your book on page 36. And an adjective is a word that modifies or describes a noun or a word that is used as a noun substitute, which is also called a substantive. That's in a lot of books. So if you're ever reading a commentary or something like that, now you can know what that word means, or else you can Google it. It answers such questions as what kind, which one, how many. An adjective in Greek, you can underline this one, this is very important to know, but an adjective in Greek agrees with the word it modifies in case, gender, and number. Case, gender, and number. Basically the same thing as the article, I believe. So, very important to know. So although a noun has only one gender, an adjective must be able to modify a noun of any gender. And so they must have endings for all three genders. So you can see this start adding up. So you have, not only does it need a match in gender, so you have masculine, feminine, and neuter, but you also have the cases. So you have nominative, genitive, dative, accusative, and vocative. So although Greek adjectives do not, strictly speaking, have declensions, they are classified by the patterns of endings they use. So we'll look at the noun agreement to start off with. So because adjectives agree with the noun in gender, number, and case, this is what's really helpful here, is most adjectives, about 85% of them, have 24 forms that you need to memorize. It's the same thing as the article, they have 24 forms. But this needs to be in agreement, to help be in agreement with the noun. So these are called 3 termination adjectives. Okay, 3 termination adjectives. Is your brain hurting yet?
Yes.
Okay, so these 3 termination adjectives will have endings that look like these, okay? Now, these endings are going to look very, 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 very similar. Like you should have already known them. So you have the masculine ones and the neuter ones right here. What endings do those look like? Second declension. So look at that. If you have the second declension noun endings down, you have the masculine and neuter declensions down, right? So let's look at the next one. You have the feminine, and then you have endings. And what do those look like? First declension. So adjectives, the masculine and neuter, have the second declension endings, and the feminine adjectives have the first declension endings. Look at the singular feminine. You'll notice that if the adjective has a epsilon, iota, rho at the end, it's going to have the alpha ending, and if it doesn't have that, it's going to have the eta ending, which is the main one that you memorized. So it should follow the same rules that you learned in the first declension nouns. Now, does that help you out at all? I mean, this is reduce your memory down to 0, right? Unless you haven't memorized the first and second declension noun endings. So, I would recommend this next 2 weeks is to get those endings down, because we're not meeting next 2 weeks because of VBS and 4th of July. So if you look at this list again, you'll see, a masculine, feminine, neuter. So that's 3 right there. Masculine, feminine, neuter. There's 3 terminations for both singular and plural. However, there is an exception to all these things. There are also some adjectives that fall under what is called the 2 termination adjectives. Yet, under the 2 termination, there's only going to be 2. And so these still need to be in agreement with their nouns and gender, number, case, but these adjectives use the masculine forms for both masculine and feminine.
Are the endings still the same?
The endings are the same. Look at that. Even how easier, right? So there's a couple ways you can kind of tell what kind of adjectives fall into this category. The first way is what your book says, that you just have to know the dictionary or the lexicon. I'll show you an example of that. And then the second helpful would be compound words. such as apistas, which is one of our vocabulary words. The alpha at the beginning is the negative prefix conjugation, and that is before the main word pistas, which is faithful. So if you add the negative to that, it is unfaithful. Believing, am I? Pistas, faithful? Yeah, unfaithful. So English works the same way. You have atheist, which you have theist with the A at the beginning, or apolitical, political with the A at the beginning. So it's similar in that sense. So again, the other way of knowing is just by looking at the vocabulary or dictionary list to find out what number of genders it has. So if you look at your vocabulary list for today, you'll start off at the very top, agathos. You'll notice that you have the as, which is the masculine ending, the eta, which is the feminine ending, and the on, which is the neuter ending, right? Everyone on the same page? Well, if you go in agapetas, gaas, a, on, hagias, as, a, on, because the iota is at the end of the lexical morpheme in there. So it's going to have the alpha for the feminine. But ionias, that only has as and on. So that would fall under the two termination adjectives. So generally, if you're just reading the Greek New Testament or the Old Testament Septuagint, and you're coming to a word, and how are you going to really know that it's going to match? Well, the best way to do is either know the word or look it up. If it's going to fall under a 2 termination or a 3 termination. But generally, most of them, 85% of them, fall under the 3 termination, so it's going to be similar in how they agree with their noun. Does that make sense? Any questions on that part? Okay. So, just looking at some examples. So the very first one is anthropos, agathos. You'll notice that the endings os and os are both masculine. They're both nominative, and they have to agree on what else? Number, right? So they're singular too, right? So that one matches. Now, because nouns have different declensions, they're going to have some different endings. So, for example, the second one, agathos mathetes, you'll notice that mathetes has the eta sigma at the end. However, do you remember what this word falls under? First declension. So first declension nouns for masculine start off with ace or as. And remember that feminine also, the genitive first declensions have the ace and as. Remember that? So the best way to know that is just knowing the gender of the word, because remember, Greek is each word has an assigned gender. It is similar to English in one sense, but in another sense it's not, because we don't. Ours is, if it's a male object, or a male, we could say it's a man, and female it's a feminine, and usually an object is it, neuter. So yeah. Looking at the third example, agathe, hemera. You'll notice that hemera has the alpha at the end, but the reason why the alpha is there is because of anyone? What's the rule? It's on there. It's at the top. The stem ends with a rho. You're right. You see the rho right there? Yeah. So even though that the alpha is there, you have to remember that it's still feminine because the stem ends with a rho. So this still matches because agathe does not have the epsilon, iota, or rho ending. So they're both feminine, and they both match. Make sense? So last one, agathon and doron. Those are the neuter, and that's an example how that would look. So any questions on how they would agree before we look at their uses? No? Okay. So there are, starting on page 38, there are 3 distinct ways in how Greek adjectives work. Watch me get tongue twisted here. These functions parallel with the English usage. So they, one, attributively, predicatively, and substantively, or substantively, however you want to pronounce it. Those are the 3 ways that adjectives can be used. Have you ever heard of any of these words? I know we heard one. Anyone wanted to say something? Have you heard of predicate? What is predicate?
I know. I've heard it forever, but
Lots of the subject predicates.
Predicate's a subject, yeah, or something. It doesn't have to be a subject in this case. So if we look at attributive, an attributive adjective attributes a quality to the noun it modifies or describes. So, example here is the good man. Good is describing the man, right? The attributive adjective may appear in 2 different positions in relation to the noun it modifies. So when it talks about Greek word order, this is something where Greek word order is more precise, and it's good to know this. Okay? So the best way to understand this is that the adjective is going to have an article to the left of it. If you see the article right there and you see the article right there. Okay? So it's either the adjective is going to be between the article and the noun, or it's going to be the noun and then the adjective. And they both usually have articles. Cool?
Is either more common?
They're about the same, I think. Yeah. So both of these are translated as the good man. The second one would be the man, the good one. But in English, it's better to translate it as the good man. Cool? Any questions on the attributive use? Okay, 2, predicative. Anyway, see, like I said, I'm going to have a tongue twister on these. As its name indicates, a predicate adjective appears in the predicate and makes an assertion about the subject noun. In other words, the man is good. It's making an assertion there. Instead of the man is the good man, it's the man is good. There are 2 ways of writing this construction in Greek, both of which omit the article before the adjective. So the best way to understand this one is that there's not going to be an article before the adjective. So this is called the predicate position. So the first example is ha anthropos agathos. So that would be the man is good. So the to be word here, which you'll learn in chapter 7, is implied. And to be is just like am, are, is.
Is it always implied, or does it actually show up?
It shows up. Yeah. But generally it's applied from my experience. The second one is agathos, ha, anthropos, and just the position of it. So it's the good is the man. So it's just the backwards form of it. So instead of, the best way to put it is if you put an equal sign in between each one of these, that's how I remember. And that's basically, this is that. So the to be verb basically, which is implied, is an equal sign almost. It's asserting something about the noun. So the man is good.
So the cases, genders, etc. of the verbs are identical between these. So the only way you can tell between attributive or predicate
Word order and article.
Oh, of the article.
Yeah, so article, the attributive is going to have the article to the left of it.
Well, in both cases, an article is used in the same article.
Yeah, but
What's the article before?
but look at the adjective. Does the adjective have the article before it in the predicate? It does not. So that's be the main clue right there. So the noun has the article, ha, anthropos, but the adjective does not have the article. Whereas when you look at the example on 38 for the attributive, it's ha agathos, anthropos, or ha anthropos, ha agathos. So this article is always going to be right next to it. Any questions on that? Okay, so both of these right here on the board are, man is good. The last one is the substantive use. Just reading this, the Greek adjective may also take the place of the noun. This is called the substantival use of the adjective, and it is much more common in Greek than in English. So the example is, only the good die young, the meek shall inherit the earth. So when you look at some examples, ha agathos means the good man, or the good one, or the good person. He agathe means the good woman, and ta agathon means the good thing. Pretty simple. So the masculine form can either be inclusive in one sense, talk about like person instead of man, but the others are, the feminine would be woman, and the neuter is going to be a good thing. Yeah. Yes?
In the example, it has the good as a noun. So would that?
So it acts as a noun. So that's what.
Is that what the third form is?
Yes. So substantival use is substantive means in place of a noun, substituting the noun. Yeah. So it's basically acting as a noun. So actually, in many cases, you'll be reading the Greek New Testament, and there's an adjective there, and it's basically functioning as a noun. It's basically it. Yep. So likewise, the plural, hoi agathoi, means the good men, the good people, or the good ones. The masculine plural is used both for a group of all males or for a mixed group of people, both male and female. Whereas hai agathai means the good women, and ta agatha means the good things. In this usage, there is no noun for the adjective to modify, and that's the main thing. When you just see a random adjective there, that's not seems like there's not a noun that it modifies, it's going to most likely be as a substantive. It should be noted that a substantival adjective can function in a way that a noun can function. So it can function as a subject, it can function as a direct object, as an indirect object, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty flexible in its use. So you just have to understand it in a sentence and make determination based off context. Okay, any questions on substantival use of the adjective? Basically, it acts as a noun. So again, just looking at these, some quick rules. The one, attributively, if there is a noun to modify and the adjective is preceded by the article, the usage is attributive. So there's got to be a noun there, and there's still got to be article right before the adjective. Number two, predicative. There is a noun to modify, but the adjective is not preceded by the article. And the linking verb, which is the ame verb, to be, is either there or implied. In most cases, from my experience, it is implied. And this is the predicative usage.
How would it be implied?
This is not there. So if you look at the example right there, it's the man good. So you would have to supply the man is good.
There's like no letter change or anything. It's just there.
It's just there. So Greek, I'll show an example later. The Greek implies a lot in some cases. So it'll maybe have a verb up at the beginning, and it's actually implying the verb throughout in some cases, depending on context, of course. And the third is substantively. If there is no noun to modify and the adjective is preceded by the article, the usage is substantival. So the article would be there, I believe, in most cases. I don't know if that's a hard and fast rule, though. I can't say. But generally, when you think about grammar, even English, there are no hard and fast rules besides certain things. There's always either something from a different language coming in or something changes everything. So next we're going to look at the adverb. This is really simple. An adverb qualifies a verb, adjective, or another adverb by indicating quantity, time, place, intensity, and manner. When modifying a verb, an adverb tells when, where, or in what manner the action of the verb occurs. So in an example, he answered the question immediately. The adverb immediately qualifies the verb answer by indicating when he answered. An example, this is a very nice house. The adverb very qualifies, I just lost my place. It's very nice. Very qualifies the adjective nice. And in the example, my son did very well on the exam. The adverb very qualifies the adverb well. So it's pretty easy there. The main thing you need to know about the adverb is the main ending is going to be the omega sigma. But ultimately, you're going to be learning your adverbs by observation. So as you're translating, you'll like, okay, what is this? It's going to probably be an adverb. There's a few words that you're just going to have to know as you're going through. Any questions on that? This is more from familiarity. So the example, so a lot of adjectives can also be adverbs. So like good. So kalos can be kalos for well. And just like some nouns can be adjectives. So you're going to see some overlap in words. And it's just helpful for our memory. So yeah. So we'll do a vocabulary. Any questions on adjectives and adverbs?
Do the adverbs have to match the thing they're modifying?
No. It's just either the os, omega, sigma, or whatever it ends up being. So that one's pretty simple, right? So the ones that have a red dot next to it, I picked 10 as the ones I'd recommend memorizing for a quiz. I'm trying to pick words that I when I'm going through the epistles anyway, that are happening most often in the epistles. So if you're wanting to do like the Gospel of John, I can't guarantee you I'm picking words out in those. But yeah. So let's repeat them after me again so we can get familiar with them. And I'll try to say the English translation. So agathos, which is good. Agapetas, is beloved. Hagios, holy or set apart. Aionios, eternal. Allos, other or another. Apistos, unbelieving or faithless or unfaithful. Basilikas, royal. Dikaios, righteous. Hekastos, each and every. Eschatos, last. Heteros, other, another. Kainos, new. Kakos, bad. Kalos, good, beautiful. Kalos, I believe, is generally used for appearance, but it can be used for other things.
Did you say how bad and good sound very similar? Like the two Greek words for bad and good sound very similar?
Yeah, they sort of kakos or kalos, yeah. It's just the kappa and lambda. So mikros, small, little. Monos, alone, only. Oh yeah, mikros, I think a microscope. Yeah, micro. Yeah. Yeah, so monos, only, alone. Nekros, dead. Pauline, again, that one's actually occurs a lot. Pistos, faithful, believing. Paneros, remember those pawns are evil. Yeah. Protos, first. And Saphos, wise. Cool. Any questions on vocabulary?
Why does the again have like the
ADV.
Adverb.
right? I know, but does it mean to be used as an adverb without the ending change? Or?
So Pauline's going to be an irregular verb, so it's going to. I think Pauline is the only. I think that's the main thing you'll see. I'm trying to think if it has other declensions. I have to look that up. Pauline. I know it's irregular, so it's.
I've always seen it as
I think 9 times out of 10 is going to be Pauline. So that's this one that you have to. No, that's an adverb. Yep.
You guys recognize any English words that some or come from maybe some of these words? We mentioned like what?
Like
I was thinking just the name, Pauline.
Yeah.
Yes, James.
I mean, we got eschatos, eschatology. Necro.
So eschatology being last, that could be in time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Study of the last things.
Yeah, last.
Yeah.
Agathos is the girl's name. Agatha
Oh,
comes from that.
it's from good.
Good.
Good girl.
Okay. So for homework, I just picked 3 random ones, so 5, 7, and 10. And I believe I'm just going to do 2 for the quiz. So it could be either one of those 2, and I think I'm just going to do what I did this time and just basically pull directly from the homework instead of changing around. But if we could split up, we got 4 tables, so we could do 4 tables. Table number 1 is going to do number 1. Table number 2 is going to do number 2. Number 3. And number 4. Look at this. You all can work together as one big team. One happy family. Okay, so table number 1.
Okay. I could read the Greek first.
You can read the Greek and parse verbs.
Honoros, ha doulos, kai lege, ta kaka. Lege is present active indicative, third person singular from Lego.
Good job.
This servant or slave is evil because it's honoros, evil, ha doulos, the servant or slave in the nominative, so that's the subject, and is evil because it's
Predicate. Predictive, whatever.
Predicatival, sorry.
Title, yeah.
Predicate. So the servant is evil, and he says or speaks the bad things, because ta kaka is neuter adjective used substantively, so bad things and it's plural. So the servant is evil and he says or speaks bad things.
Good job. Table number 2.
It's hoi, huioi, ferusi, kala, dora, Pauline, or Pauline.
Pauline. Yep. And verb is
It's ferusi,
okay.
fero,
Pharaoh. Yep.
which is they bring or they bear.
Yep.
The subject is the sons.
You can just give me your translation.
Yeah, so it's the sons bring good gifts again.
Yeah, and if you notice in number 2, there's no article with kala. And so ultimately, if there's no article there, then context will determine whether it is attributive or predicative. I can't say the word. Anyway, so just so you know, so this one, good gifts. So it's using it as an attributive use for number 2. Cool. Number 3.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess. Hi, soba, ta, agata, legusi. The verb is legusi, the present active indicative, third person plural, and the source would be ago. So that's speak or say. So we have hi, sofi, which would be, I guess, a substantive adjective. So wise is, well, tie is the feminine article. It's also plural, it's the nominative. So that would be the wise women,
Yep. Wise women.
and they speak. So the next part is ta gata. So ta, that is the neuter article, and it would be plural.
And it could be one of two things, right?
It could be nominative
Or
accusative.
accusative. Yep. And yep. Most likely. Well, in this case, it would be accusative.
Accusative, so it would be, so there's accusative and, then, it's, good, and that would be, well,
Yeah.
what's
So
being acted upon, so, wise women speak,
the wise women speak.
well, like, good things or what is good.
Yeah. Good things. What is good? Yep. You could do that. Cool. And table number 4.
Kakoi, hoi, lagoi, ton, anthropon.
Yeah. Tone. Anthropone. Yeah.
The verb is an implied to be.
Yep. You don't have to parse it.
The words of the people or men are bad.
Words of the men are bad. Yeah.
So how would you choose that it was men in that situation? Because all of that is,
Anthropone.
yeah, because isn't that,
It could be people.
it could
Be
right, it could be male or female, so you just choose male because
But-
it's usually.
well, generally anthropone is male,
Okay.
man. Generally, 99.9% of the time. I can't think of really an instance where it could be used another way.
Okay, well, in
So
this
the
case,
men.
in this case, it is the genitive case because it's acting on the subject, right?
So yeah, I would say the men.
The
men
words
is
of the
acting
men
on
are
subject.
bad.
But in the genitive case, the own ending is male, female, or
Yeah, it could be.
it could be any of them.
Yeah.
You just go with the male case in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
And on the new sheet of handout, you got to correct the last line of the article. The own, I forgot to put the noon at the end of the genitive and the sigma at the end of the dative. I don't have it in front of me. That sheet of hand, well, you don't have it. He has it.
Is this it?
Yeah. So if you look at the article on the neuter, plural, very last one. On the sheet I just handed out. Oh, on the article, which is the bottom blue table, the neuter, plural.
Should have a sigma at the end?
The dative should have a sigma and the genitive should have a noon. So I think it
It should have a new, okay.
auto-corrected on me for some reason.
Genitive should be exactly the same as masculine.
Should be ton and twice.
Yeah.
So in the genitive case.
Okay. Did those examples doing it together helped as a table? Yeah? Kind of help you get familiar with it, hang of it?
What was the translation for?
The words of the men are bad. So just a quick application straight from the Bible. Matthew 6:13, which is actually, if you look at 5.7 on verses of application, I picked 2 of those. But I thought Matthew 6:13 was very helpful because who has their Bible or has access to a Bible? An English Bible, yes. I need someone with the ESV, and I need someone with something else.
I have an ASB.
You can read the NASB, and I just need the ESV. But Matthew 6:13. But before we get there, we're gonna just translate real fast. Just so you know that every translation is an interpretation. Just saying, this is a case for that. So Matthew 6:13 starts off with kai me aseneg en case. Man, can I say that word? Asen case. S in a case. S in N case. Because the gamma is going to have a N sound because it's next to the kappa. Anyway, hemas es perasmas, or perasman. So the verb is the one I highlighted, es in N case, which is an aorist active subjunctive, which we haven't learned yet. We haven't learned aorist and we haven't learned subjunctive, so don't worry about it. And it's from ace pharaoh, but you've learned pharaoh, haven't you? So you'll learn that some words have compound words. So ace is actually a preposition attached to the word pharaoh. Ace is in 2. But just because you have 2 words put together that are compound doesn't mean that it's helps you understand the meaning. For example, butterfly in English. Is it butterflying or is it a insect? So this is an example of a compound word that doesn't necessarily mean butter that flies. But this one happens to be a word that does help us, someone that bringing into. So may is the negative. This is like no or not. So it's like, and do not bring us into temptation. So that's the very first translation. I'm pretty sure you're probably familiar with where this is in the Bible, maybe. Lord's Prayer. Allah, which is the next one. I don't know where I put them. There it is. Allah is, means but. Rusai, hemas apa tu paneru. So Allah's but. Perusai is the verb is aorist middle imperative, which we haven't learned that yet. And it's most likely a deponent when we learn in chapter 10 the deponent words, but I'm not a proponent of dependency. I'm a proponent of middle, so I'll tell you why when we get to chapter 10. Anyway, but imperative is a command, so, but deliver us. So it's a prayer that's commanding God to do something. That's what I enjoy about the Greek language. You can actually command God. Well, it's asking, I should say. Anyway, it's requesting. But it is, in Greek, it's a command. Hemas is us. Apa is a preposition, which is from. And then to paneru. Now, do you know what that is? It's one of our vocabulary words. For this week. So it's going to be, if you got the new sheet, it's going to be on the back at the very bottom left, or you can look on whatever page the vocabulary is on. Evil. Okay, how is this being used?
The neuter genitive case for the ending, right?
Is it neuter?
Well, neuter or masculine.
Neuter or masculine?
I would guess neuter off the context, but I could be wrong.
Because
So you would say evil things? Deliver us from evil things?
just evil.
Why would it be evil?
Can evil be used as
So would this be an adverb?
No, this is
can it be used as the
an adjective.
Can it be used as the third form of an adjective?
Huh?
Can it be used as that third adjective form?
Yeah, what's that?
Oh, yeah.
Substantival?
Yes.
Okay, okay, how would you translate it? If it's substantival, how would you translate it?
Evil one.
Evil one?
So it could be the evil one.
The evil one, yeah. So who has the ESV? Actually, you can read yours first, John.
As we says, and do not lead us into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
Yours says, NASB says evil too?
Yep.
Oh, I forgot. Okay. Read, not ESV.
Not ESV.
I'll pull up the King James. I've heard the evil one definitely.
Okay. I hate the NASB.
Can it be the evil thing?
Huh? It's either evil one or evil thing.
You want King James?
Whatever.
There is a the in there though, so they would ignore the article that just said from evil, right?
Yeah, so substantival use is going to have the article.
Can you ignore that?
Is
Most-
there a, well, is there a Greek word?
King James says deliver us from evil.
Yeah.
I looked at the King James earlier today.
King James definitely says deliver us from evil. That's how I had memorized it.
King James.
That's what I guess, is there a Greek word is there another Greek word for evil
There's
used as a noun? Or, like if they ever wanted to talk about evil as a concept, like
Yeah.
what would Greeks say? Would they always,
I would take the article away.
you take the article away?
Yeah.
Okay. So if it's, so an adjective, did we already cover that? With I mean, I'm just not remembering. So an adjective without the article, you could use for
Yeah, so
concept.
when we learn more about the article, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But I would say adjectives are primarily used in three ways. They can be used more than those three ways. So I guess technically, if you wanted to, you could say evil, but I would argue against it. I would say evil one or evil thing, but I would be pointing to evil one.
Well, there's definitely an article there.
Yeah, and the main reason why would be because of the article. So yeah,
And that Bible says evil one.
evil one, yeah. We'll just do a translation comparison in a second. Okay. Anyway, so I would say the proper one would be evil one. So you can disagree with me on that one. Doesn't matter. But evil one because of, I would call this a substantival use of the adjective, and because evil is more of a, it's translated more from a theological standpoint, from my understanding, than from a grammar standpoint, from my understanding of reading things on it. Does that make sense? Because ultimately, every translation is an interpretation, and in some certain verses that you come to are going to be a theological, your own theology is going to actually kick in and help you translate it, ultimately, if that makes sense. For example, John 1:1. In the beginning was a Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. Well, if you remember the thing that we went over, it could be the Word was a God, but our theology is going to, and our context of theology that we derive from, is we're going to say that Jesus is God. And that would be our key standpoint. Does it make sense? Yeah.
Sorry, I just looked up Young's literal translation, which is an oldie but a goodie.
Oh, yeah.
And it actually has, it's archaic, but it actually has, and mayest thou not lead us to temptation, but deliver us from the evil.
Anyway.
So they find
Yeah. I would argue it's evil one. But anyway, Luke 6:45. Let's just do the very first line ending with agathon. So, who would like to read it? Just this part right here. Starting with ha. Volunteer, or do I need to call someone?
Ayatos.
Agathos. Agathos.
Yeah. That was the reason why.
Oh, you're fine.
Anthropos ek to agathos.
Agathu.
No,
So the theta is most likely going to be a th, sound like in the, and a tau would be a ta. I can't, does Koine Greek pronounce it as a T? I think it's still a ta. Ta. I'm pretty sure it's just ta. Desaru. Taste. Cardias. Profere. Ta agathon, yep. So we'll just do this one. So ha agathos, anthropos, ek tu, agathu, thesaru, tes cardias, profere, ta agathon. So if we were just looking at this, we're going to want to find the verb, and the verb is what I highlighted just to help it speed it up. It's from profero. I remember what that word means now. All right, and anyway, who wants to guess the person number? Or know the person number based on looking at it? Jude? Third person singular, yep. Oops. Whatever. Third person singular, yep. And let's see here. Bring forth? Yeah, I think it's bring forth. Pretty sure it means bring forth. So we have a ha agathos anthropos. Now, this is actually one of our examples, wasn't it?
The good man.
The good man, yep. The good man. Sorry if my writing like this is hard. Ek is out of or from.
So that construction is attributive, right?
Yes. And that is attributive, right? Yep. And then we have tu agathu thesaru. Now you don't know what thesaru is, but
Sounds like another word in English.
Thesaurus?
close. Depends on how you want to define a thesaurus. Anyway, what is the construction of this one? Another attributive. So, out of the good thesaru, pretty sure it's treasury, storehouse. I'm going to say treasury. And tes cardias. Do you remember, do we have cardias as one of our words?
You said, but we should be able to figure it out.
Yeah, we should be able to figure it out.
Cardias.
Cardias. Heart, yes. And what case is this?
Is it singular second person? I mean, singular.
He's talking about case.
Case.
It's nominative.
Well, that would be,
Or, no, A, sorry.
that would be.
Cardias.
Not the sigma. Yeah.
Feminine.
Yeah, genitive.
Singular. Genitive. Correct. So, the good man out of the good treasury of heart. So, in Greek, certain things can also be applied, or implied, I should say. So, the good man out of the good treasury, or the good treasury of his heart, probably would make it sound better. Then brings forth, which is a verb, because it's third singular, and this is singular, and it's the nominative, so it's going to be describing, the verb is going to be, the nominative is going to be the subject of the verb. And then ta agathon. What is that?
Oh. It's a substantive use of the adjective.
And what gender is it?
Neuter,
Neuter. So how would you translate that?
accusative.
And how would you translate that? Yeah.
The good thing, is it plural or singular though?
Plural would be ta
It's
with the alpha.
Yeah.
So the good thing. So the good man out of the good treasury of his heart brings forth the good thing.
Could you just say the good? In English, that would make sense.
Yeah, you could probably say the good. Or what is good, I should say. Probably better.
What is good for 500?
Yeah. And then the next one, kai ha paneros ek tu paneru. And paneros is what? What's just the translation or the vocabulary? The evil. And the evil man out of evil it's probably out of evil heart, because it's probably supplying the treasury of the heart part. Out of an evil heart. Sorry, I can't write on this thing like this. Brings forth, because it's the same verb, 3s. what is evil. Pretty easy. And then we have ek, gar, perisumatas, cardias, lale, ta, stama, atu. Now, these are a lot of words you don't know, but it's ek is out of, but gar here is a for, and it's positioned post-positive, so it's going to be right after the first word. This is one word we'll learn later. So it's for, out of, perisumatas is abundance or overflow. So let's do overflow. That is a noun. Overflow.
His heart.
Yep, of, or the heart. Lale means to speak, or he speaks, from laleo. So it's another, it's kind of like Lego, but it's laleo. So speaks. Tas stoma atu. So atu is the personal pronoun, which is his. So you could say of him or speaks. Let's see. For out of the overflow of the heart speaks. The mouth speaks. Look at that. See, that's why I need to. I gotta find that. So ta stoma is mouth. The mouth. I got a thing on here that's preventing me from writing. The mouth speaks of him. Anyway, there's a couple of ways you could do this. But so Luke 6:45, the good man out of the good treasury of his heart brings forth the good things, or what is good, and the evil man out of an evil heart brings forth what is evil. For out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth, or his mouth speaks, basically.
So where is the out to?
What? Oh, I'm in the way. Look at that.
Chris, the last word of that last line.
Yes, atu. That is a pronoun. So it'd be like his, of him, and it's genitive. Yes.
So why isn't it out of the overflow of the heart his mouth speaks?
Or it could be his mouth speaks. Yeah.
Well, I just don't get why there's his and the in there.
So the mouth of him.
The mouth of him speaks.
Yeah, the mouth of him speaks.
Well, okay, the evil
So his
man
mouth.
have already been talked
Yeah.
about, so I guess.
Yeah. So actually, it would be his mouth speaks. Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing it on the fly here. So yeah, that's just application on how it looks. I think it's interesting that out of Matthew 6:13 that you can use the imperative language and prayer. You're requesting to the Lord. Or in one sense, I would say it's like pleading. You deliver us from the evil one. And then Luke 6:45 it uses the adjective, attributive adjective a lot, and even the substantive, and really pointing to the heart. What comes out of the heart is what the man speaks, so, or what he does, really. So, a good man bears good fruit, a bad man bears bad fruit. For out of the overflow of the heart, his mouth speaks. So, yeah. So, Eli, would you like to pray for us?